Hello and welcome to the Tough Cover Podcast, episode 14 on the Painted Lines with your host, Mark Henry Jr. A very special edition for a very special week live on the Painted Lines on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. I want you guys to go follow at the Painted Lines on Twitter and subscribe to the Painted Lines on YouTube and Twitch. Please go follow me at Mark Henry Jr. _ on Twitter and at Tough Cover Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Painted Lines is now also sponsored by XL Media, so there'll be more to come on info regarding that and some deals for you guys. There is something in the description for you to check out regarding that, so go check it out in the description of this video. So keep it locked onto the Painted Lines on Twitter. Keep it locked to my Twitter and at Tough Cover Pod. You'll be up to date. Please leave your picks or bracket thoughts, Final Fours, sleepers, upsets, questions, whatever they are in the comments. Let me know what you're doing, whatever you got, your favorite cheesesteak, whatever it may be. We will be doing a contest soon after the bracket about picks in the comments. But for now, go join the bracket challenge for the Painted Lines. Go to ESPN to the tournament challenge, the bracket challenge home site. Search the Painted Lines or go follow me on Twitter and follow the link that I tweeted out. We're going to tweet it out also from the Painted Lines account. We're going to try to send it to you guys on the Discord as well. Get it to you guys as many ways as possible so you can join by noon tomorrow. Even if you don't get in by noon tomorrow, if you already have a bracket, you can join whenever, even if you hear this late. So join the Painted Lines bracket challenge to compete against our hosts, writers, the viewers, everybody and anybody that is involved with the Painted Lines. Please go check out me, Dylan Davis, and Matt McGinty's Daily Dose. We just did right before this. We talked about the Sixers, and then we talked some bracket for the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes of the show. Also, go check out me, Dylan, and Matt's Selection Sunday watch party. The link is in the description below. It was excellent. I reacted big time to some of the upsets and some of the seeds that we were not expecting, like Oklahoma State being a 4 seed. Which we will talk about today. A little breakdown of this week on the Tough Cover Podcast. We're almost there, folks. This is our fourth region by region breakdown. The last region that we have, it's the Midwest, and we are right here at 5, like we always have been the last 3 days. After I finish the Midwest, stick around because I'm doing the Final Four and I'm explaining my thought process depending on the pool that you're in, the size, whether it's for money, whether it's free. I have a couple tips that I want to give you guys about being in bracket pools because there is very specific ways that you can win and lose bracket pools or office pools, whatever you want to say. So I will be showing my entire sheet of integrity, reading my Sweet 16, reading my Elite 8, reading my Final Four, reading my National Championship, and then revealing to you guys who will be cutting down the nets. And then tomorrow, please join us. I need to start preparing for this, but I believe at 8 a.m. tomorrow, I will be breaking down every game from a standpoint of a spread and a total. I think I'm going to give all of my picks, and then I'm going to talk about the picks that I don't have on my board and explain why I didn't take a side or a total on that game. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And then depending how tomorrow goes, I'm just joking. We will also do the same thing on Saturday at 8 a.m. So Friday and Saturday, check us out at 8 a.m. and we will be breaking down each game and total and spread. Before we get to my West region breakdown, let's do a quick fit check. You can't really see me that well. There's a really tiny logo right here, but I'm rocking with the Tennessee Volunteers. It's because it's really the only shirt that I had in this region. And then behind me, I got UCLA with Russell Westbrook on the wall. And I've got the Wichita State Shockers because you don't want to go to war with the Shockers. Don't start no stuff, won't be no stuff. And before we get into my Midwest breakdown, I've got a bet of the day, lock of the night, best bet for you guys. Wichita State +2.5. Lock it in. I haven't seen a single person on the Shockers. Everyone's on Drake. You don't want to go to war with the Shockers. Eddie N's going to go off. Wichita State is going to advance to play, what is that? I believe they would play USC, and they will lose. But Wichita State will advance. They will beat Drake. And I like them +2.5 a lot tonight, strictly because the entire gambling public is on one side. And when that happens, you got to be on the other side. So I'll happily take Wichita State +2.5 for my best bet, which is 7-5. So let's get to the Midwest breakdown. Market Bracketology here to take you through the Midwest region. And here we go. So let's talk about Illinois Drexel. Philly basketball is here again. Not going to waste too much time on it. The Drexel Dragons are dancing, but instead of getting the 4 seed, or the 14 seed that Lunardi had. They get a 16, and Ayo Kofi are just too much. Illinois is too damn good. Illinois moves on to the second round. So the number 8 seed, Loyola Chicago, versus the number 9 seed, Georgia Tech. This is a shame because I had already bet on Georgia Tech. I loved Alvarado. I loved Moses Wright. I loved Michael DeVoe. I really thought that Georgia Tech was a good underdog pick here over Loyola Chicago because they were betting underdog. But with ACC Player of the Year and their best player, Moses Wright, out, you got to go with Loyola, who does have phenomenal underlying numbers. Getting to the team that I have on my shirt in the 5-12 matchup, we got the number 5 seed, Tennessee Volunteers, versus the number 12 seed, Oregon State Beavers. Tennessee is so hit or miss, but they impressed me a lot in the SEC tourney, especially in the loss. Oregon State stinks, but wow, what a run in the tourney. They have a Coach Tingle. Could Oregon State stay hot? Could that coach be the new story? I don't know. Could Tennessee's guard be down? Could the Oregon State guards go off? Maybe. But I'll go with Springer and Johnson, who are literally potential lottery picks as guards for Tennessee, which guard play wins in the tournament. Tennessee could be missing defensive piece Fulkerson due to that dirty elbow in the Florida game, but I'll stick with Tennessee to at least advance to the round of 32. Number 4 seed, Oklahoma State versus number 13 seed, Liberty. Cade Cunningham is an absolute monster. He's the best player in the country. Oklahoma State is playing their best basketball of all season. They should have been a 2 seed. They got screwed as a 4 seed, which screws Liberty. Liberty had success in the tourney recently. Darius McGee is a hell of a shooter. Liberty was best in their conference at pretty much every offensive category. This is not a cakewalk for Oklahoma State, but Oklahoma State Cowboys are battle-tested. Cade's supporting cast has shined as of late, and they've shown the ability to step up. Oklahoma State moves on to face Tennessee. So we bring it down a little bit to the bottom half of the region, and we have a matchup that my boy Joe Ciccoletti was talking about being very confused on. The number 6 seed San Diego State Aztecs versus the number 11 seed Syracuse Orange. Syracuse is the trendy pick here on name alone and on reputation as a low seed succeeding in the tournament. Everyone is going to talk about Syracuse's defense, but they should talk about the Aztec defense of San Diego State. SDSU has shut down multiple dynamic scorers like Remy Martin from Arizona State and many others, and will be able to do the same on Buddy Boeheim, in my opinion, who is so important to the Syracuse offense. San Diego State rolls. We move on to the next matchup, which is the number 3 seed West Virginia Mountaineers, the number 14 seed Morehead State. West Virginia is not your father's Press Virginia. They score the ball. Colbert, McBride, McNeil can all fill it up, and they can all go for 20 any given night. Morehead State can't score and plays very slow. They screwed us out of a great Belmont team making the tourney, which is a damn shame. They would have put a couple of these teams on upset alert. But I'm going West Virginia easy. I'm not going to waste too much time talking about it. Moving on to the 7-10 matchup. We have Clemson Tigers, the number 7 seed, versus the number 10 seed Rutgers Scarlet Knights. This is an ugly, ugly, ugly matchup offensively. One of the worst matchups offensively in NCAA tournament in recent memory. Both teams rely on defense and rely on paint scoring to such a high degree. I'll go with the team with better outside scorers and a better coach with Peichel. I think Rutgers got a great draw with their 7-2. If they would have faced a team that could really pour it in on offense, I would not have liked the matchup. But we're going with Rutgers to move on to the round of 32 to play the winner of the number 2 seed Houston against number 15 seed Cleveland State. Houston is not a team I'm high on, and it goes back to not being high on Texas Tech, which is by far their best win and really what makes them a 2 seed. But Cleveland State can't score enough to take advantage of where I think Houston can be taken advantage of. Houston rolls. They punk bad teams, so this is in their nature. I know they're like minus 20.5. I don't even think Houston's good, but I actually think Houston probably does cover a big number against Cleveland State. So let's move back to the top of the bracket. We have the number 1 seed, Illinois, versus the number 8 seed, Loyola Chicago. Not going to waste too much time here. I know I've said that a couple times, but don't get sucked into the Sister Jean trap is all I have to say. I know that they have great underlying numbers, but Illinois is too good. The Mass Mamba, Iota Sunma, and Kofi Coburn move on to the second weekend and go to the Sweet 16 to face the winner of Oklahoma State, number 4 seed, versus the number 5 seed, Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee does not have the wings, athleticism, or scoring to take down my man, Cade Cunningham. So I'm going Oklahoma State easy here. I think OK State rolls, and I actually think Liberty could be a bit of a tougher matchup for Oklahoma State given their ability to score than Tennessee. So let's move on down to the bottom half of the bracket. The number 6 seed, San Diego State Aztecs, versus the number 3 seed, West Virginia Mountaineers. Again, people are going to think this is a defensive showdown like the San Diego State-Syracuse game, but because of West Virginia's reputation. But San Diego State is the defensive team going against an offensive team in West Virginia here. San Diego State's home loss to BYU, who plays a bit similarly offensively, makes me lean West Virginia here. The winner of this game will go to the Elite Eight in the bottom half of that region, in my opinion. West Virginia just more battle-tested from the Big 12, best conference in basketball, in my opinion, and they're just too good with the 3-ball, just too well coached. And country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, on to the Sweet 16, on to the second round. Then I got a bit of an upset brewing here. The number 2 Houston versus number 10 Rutgers. I really wish Oregon or UConn or a better 7 or a 10 were in the bottom half of this region because I think Houston is so vulnerable. But I'm still going to go with Rutgers. Even though they're not Oregon or UConn, I'll take a risk and go with Rutgers to win a low-scoring slog of a game against Houston, which is what Houston wants. Houston did, in fact, lose to ECU this year. Rutgers to the Sweet 16 for the first time in a very, very, very long time. I know John Rothstein keeps saying they haven't been to the NCAA Tournament since Dances with Wolves was the top movie. So it's been a very long time since Rutgers has had success in the NCAA Tournament. So we're getting to the Sweet 16, and we're getting to the marquee matchup. This is the marquee matchup of the entire tournament, in my opinion. I just messed up my screen here. I was trying to show you some stats, but it did not let me. So let's just read you the stats. This is the toughest matchup to predict. Illinois is excellent this year in the Big Ten, which is a great conference. Oklahoma State underperformed a little bit early in the year and were missing Cade for some games, but they've been excellent down the stretch in the Big 12, a great conference. The winner of this game is the second most likely team to win the national title and cut the nets down, in my opinion. The number 1 is Gonzaga. The number 2 is the winner of this game. And number 3 is my champion, who are none of those 3 teams, and we'll get to who that is. I'm going with the best player in the country and the team of destiny in Oklahoma State to move on past the Illinois Fighting Illini. But it is damn near impossible to pick this game with any level of confidence. I don't fault people for picking this either way. Likely, Anderson and Boone just gave me enough confidence and gave Cade enough support down the stretch to make me believe that the Cowboys can move on here, poke up. And then, honestly, this is like the quickest thing ever. West Virginia is going to beat Rutgers. That is an easy pick for me. West Virginia, just too much scoring. Like I've said, they're not the same West Virginia team that you think they are if you haven't paid attention to college basketball this year. More of an offensive team. They actually don't really press as often at all as they used to. So West Virginia moves on past Rutgers. So let's talk about a Big 12 rematch in the Elite Eight. These teams have played 3 times. This would be a 4th. And I'm going with the team that won the first 2. I'm going with the Oklahoma State Cowboys to go to the Final Four. So if anyone's been waiting on my Final Four, my official Final Four for 2021 on the Tough Cover podcast is number 1 Gonzaga, number 2 Alabama, number 3 Arkansas, and number 4 Oklahoma State. It's pretty funny that it went 1, 2, 3, 4. But that is just how the cookie crumbled with Gonzaga versus Alabama over there and Arkansas versus Oklahoma State over here. But before we get to pick to the Final Four, before I go back and read my Sweet 16, let's do a little cleanup on the Midwest region. The pick, like I said, is number 4 Oklahoma State. The Final Four dark horse, this is a tough one for me to find a dark horse in, but what I'll go with is San Diego State, if they're able to get by West Virginia, could definitely be a dark horse with a phenomenal defense that they run. The 13, 14, 15, or 16 seed most likely to advance in the tournament, I'll go with Cleveland State strictly because they're playing Houston. I don't think Houston's very good. Not that I think Cleveland State's good at all. They're definitely not even better than – they're not even close to being as good as Liberty. And I wish a different 15 seed got Houston. But I kind of think a 15 seed will either beat a 2 seed this year or give a 2 seed some trouble. I think some of these 2s are pretty vulnerable. The player of the region, why even? I mean, the question shouldn't even be asked. The player of the region is Cade Cunningham. It's not even close. And then the toughest game to pick is, like I said, Illinois versus Oklahoma State. So let me read off my Sweet 16. I'm going to stay locked on this Final Four, but I'm just going to read it to you. My Sweet 16 is number 1 Gonzaga, number 4 Virginia, number 6 USC, number 2 Iowa, number 8 LSU, number 4 Florida State, number 6 BYU, number 2 Alabama, number 1 Baylor, number 4 Purdue, number 3 Arkansas, number 2 Ohio State, number 1 Illinois, number 4 Oklahoma State, number 3 West Virginia, and number 10 Rutgers. Moving on to the Elite Eight, I have Gonzaga advancing over Virginia to face USC, who advanced past Iowa. And moving on to the Elite Eight in the East, I have Florida State, who advanced past LSU, to face Alabama, who advanced past BYU. And then in the South region, I have Purdue, who advanced past Baylor, and I have Arkansas, who advanced past Ohio State. And then in the Midwest, I have Oklahoma State advancing past Illinois to get to the Elite Eight, and I have West Virginia passing Rutgers to get to the Elite Eight. Gonzaga over USC to get to the Final Four. Alabama over Florida State to get to the Final Four, Arkansas over Purdue to get to the Final Four, and Oklahoma State over West Virginia to get to the Final Four. So Brian Baker leaves a comment, 2 SEC teams in the Final Four. I think that the SEC has been incredibly underrated this season, especially at the top of the SEC. I think that the middle has been bad and the bottom has been bad, but I think that those top 3 or 4 teams are absolutely legitimate. And it more so has to do with the fact that Arkansas and Alabama avoided Gonzaga, Illinois, and Oklahoma State, who are, in my opinion, the 3 best teams in the country. So that's a big, big deal for me and why Arkansas and Alabama made the Final Four. So here, I'm going to be fully honest with you guys on what I actually think is going to happen. If I'm going to be real, the most likely scenario is Gonzaga advancing to the national championship, Oklahoma State advancing to the national championship, and then Gonzaga winning the national title. That is my prediction. My prediction is that Gonzaga beats Oklahoma State. But guess what? If you're a person like me who enters a big money bracket pool, not big money in terms of how much you pay, but a lot of people, hundreds of people entering a bracket pool for money. I've won a few in my time, and how you do that is by picking a champion that other people aren't going to pick, or by picking a pretty much perfect bracket with Gonzaga or Illinois or whoever you think the favorite is. I don't believe in my ability to sort out every upset, because March Madness is the most unpredictable thing in sports. So how I try to gain an edge in terms of winning these bracket pools is by picking something a little different than how most people pick it and trying to find a team that most people won't pick. A few years ago in 2016, that was Villanova. I was one of 2 people out of 160 to pick Villanova to win the national championship. So all I had to do was beat one other person when they won the national title. And people are going to be shocked by what I do here. But in the Painted Lines group, this will be my bracket. I will have Gonzaga over Oklahoma State to win the national championship, because I want that to be the most accurate thing ever. But for my personal pool to win my personal money, it's going to be a little different. It's going to be the Arkansas Razorbacks cutting down the nets, Moses Moody having a Carmelo Kemba Walker type moment. I know that sounds crazy. Oh, Moses Moody's not Kemba Walker. Moses Moody's not Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony, he went 3rd. Kemba Walker went 10th. Moses Moody's probably going to go 5th or 6th. This is a good draft class. So I just don't think a lot of people are aware of what Moses Moody brings to the court. I've absolutely fallen in love watching him play over the last few months as a lottery pick. I think Arkansas's got 11 dudes who have started this year. I think Connor Vanover is a guy who's really big, 7'3", but I think he can play in those fast-paced games because he can shoot threes. And I also think he can bang bodies down low with certain bigs. So I just think Arkansas's got a lot of things going right. I think there's a little bit of a team of destiny vibe. And I think the Muss Bus is one of the a coach that you just want to play for, and a coach that has had success in every type of tournament he's ever been in. I just think Eric Musselman's a top 5 coach in college basketball. I think Arkansas is a top 5 team this year in college basketball. I love the way that they blend in huge recruits like Moses Moody with some of their transfers like Smith and like many of the other players. They're most of the time Arkansas is a very transfer heavy team like Utah State was when Musselman was there. But Arkansas with Note and Smith, they just have so many guys who can pour it on from deep, and so many guys who average 1 steal per game. They have 6 people who averaged 1 steal per game. They were second in the SEC in rebounding and first in scoring, and they were top 5 in defense. So I just think that Arkansas has been slept on big time, and I also think Alabama would be an interesting pick if you believe a lot in Alabama. I think they have a lot of guys in Jones, Shackelford, Kennerly, and others that I'm forgetting. I just think that both of those SEC teams are being really slept on in terms of being a national title contender. So there you have it. Like I said, I think the most likely scenario is Oklahoma State beating Arkansas and Gonzaga going to the championship, or Gonzaga beating Arkansas and Gonzaga winning the championship. But what I'm doing is going with the Arkansas Razorbacks over the Gonzaga Bulldogs to try to get a little bit of an edge and try to gain a little bit of an edge over people who I'm in a pool that's going to have about 100 people in it. I don't think there's going to be anyone who takes Arkansas. And if they do, then my strategy kind of goes kaput. But I will probably do an Oklahoma State bracket as well. So I would, like I said, I would rank my most likely champions as 1, Gonzaga, 2, Illinois or Oklahoma State, the winner of that game, and 3, Arkansas. I really would want to pick Oklahoma State. I thought that all year, I thought they were going to be that 3-4 seed that not a lot of people would pick, that I could pick. But the Cade Cunningham hype has gotten out of control. I think there's going to be a lot of people who think they're being smart, taking Oklahoma State as an upset Final Four team. So I'm going to stay away from that. And I'm also just not very positive in their ability to get by Illinois. And I'm not very positive in Illinois' ability to get by Oklahoma State. So that matchup just throws me off of both teams. And you look at the matchups for Arkansas, I don't think Ohio State can take advantage of Arkansas's weaknesses at all. And then I think Purdue can take advantage, but I just think Arkansas is a better team. So I have Arkansas cutting down the nets, Moses Moody and the Muss Bus, finishing it out in Indianapolis, winning the 2021 National Championship. Thank you for joining, folks. Please, please, please go join the Painted Lines Bracket Challenge. We're going to have a fun time in this March Madness. I'm going live, like I said, tomorrow at 8 a.m. and Saturday at 8 a.m. to break down every single game from a betting perspective. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of the Tough Cover Click. And guys, I only get to say it. Well, I guess I can say it tomorrow. But even though it won't be very much filling out a bracket, but please follow me at Mark Henry Jr. _ on Twitter. Please follow me at Tough Cover Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Please follow at The Painted Lines on Twitter and subscribe to The Painted Lines on YouTube and Twitch. Thank you for joining us again. Enjoy the first sport tonight. I'm rooting for UCLA and Wichita State. Like I said, I have Wichita State plus 2.5 for 2 units as my best bet and my play of the night. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the brackets, folks.